if you're driving down the freeway right now on your way to your 4th of July holiday, if you're at home getting packed or you're not going anywhere, call in, and I'm going to want to hear from you eventually. All right, so don't think that I'm just going to be talking the entire time. I'm actually going to be wanting to talk to you and hear what you think about all the things that are going on in this country now, as opposed to the way the founding fathers would have intended it to be. And that's what I want to kind of talk to you guys a little bit right now about the Declaration of Independence. I was reading something earlier when I was trying to seek out exactly why the founding fathers, what their motivation was for leaving Europe and striving to have this country, and all the things we always hear about. You know, people are always saying I'm constitutional or I'm conservative or I'm liberal. All these, they're throwing all these different things out there, and people say that they believe that the founding fathers wanted this. Some people say they think the founding fathers were wrong. They think the Constitution is a living, breathing document. Here's why I do not believe that the Constitution was a living, breathing document, just like I don't believe that the Bible is something that was just written by men, inspired by God. I believe it was the hand of God that literally wrote what he wants you to see and to study. It's a literal wording. And I think the Constitution is the same way. Now, when I look at the Declaration of Independence, and I start looking at exactly how it was written, most people don't even know any of the Declaration of Independence. They just know one line. And that is, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by the Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, many people, when they get in front of Congress or they give a speech, they will mistake the Declaration of Independence for the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence is just that. It's the declaration of our independence from Great Britain and from a king and a prince that were, in their words, a tyrant. And here's what blows me away. Just like when you read the Bible and you hear the same people fighting then that are fighting now, and people say, oh, the Bible's not true, but yet the same people, since that book has been around for thousands and thousands of years, there is truth in it, because things are still happening now that were talked about then. And when you look at the Declaration of Independence, this is what will blow your mind. When we scroll down on the Declaration of Independence, and we start to see that the things that they were fleeing from are the same exact things that are causing problems in this country today here, 242 years after the country was created. In the Declaration of Independence, it says that the history, and I'm quoting here, the history of the present king of Great Britain, this is back then, 242 years ago, is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. So they submitted the facts of their argument to the world. Now it would be via Twitter or Facebook or something like that, or mainstream media. But listen to some of the things. I'm not going to read them all. Listen to some of the things that they are saying actually occurred. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. So in other words, this king would not allow laws to be created that actually did good for the people, that were actually for the people, that were wholesome and necessary for the public good. Now, if that doesn't hit you up the side of the head, thinking about all that's going on in politics right now, you need to take a break, start looking at the Democrat and Republican parties, and look at how Washington works. I mean, people in Washington will tell you it doesn't work because they don't have the most wholesome and necessary concept of what is good for the public. It's all about the party. And in many cases, it's all about the ideology. Many socialists, many communists, covert communists, many people who just do not have any care in the world for what is best for the country outside of what is best for their ideology or their narrative or their concept of what the government should be, not what it was intended to be. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance. Now, I want you to think about that. When they're talking here in the Declaration of Independence, they're talking about a king. When I'm talking about modern day, I'm talking about politicians and the two-party system that we have. We have no real separation of powers in this country. It doesn't matter if it's Congress or the Senate or the judicial branch, the Supreme Court, and all the federal courts in the system. It doesn't matter. They are all the exact same two parties. And if you think one politician is going to venture too far away from what their party's narrative is, it's not going to happen. The mainstream media is involved in this same game. So are big money brokers. So is Hollywood. Power people. And so what do? They forbid their own to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance. Look at immigration. Look at the president trying to change immigration and saying exactly why he wants to change it, and yet the rhetoric, the mainstream media, all these different people have twisted it in such a way that you can't even determine what the truth is unless, which most people won't do, you listen and read exactly what the president is saying. And that's because where we had a king 242 years ago, now we have two political parties that are on the verge of tyrannical behavior. And in many cases, not on the verge, have actually shown their behavior to be tyrannical. The king 242 years ago called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. Now, if that doesn't remind you of what's happening in government now, where you have something that is right, you have something that needs to be done, a wall needs to be built, immigration needs to be looked at, the way we fight wars needs to be reconsidered, and yet they'll go and they'll filibuster. They'll go and they'll go to the media and they will put out narratives that are not true. They're doing that for the exact same reason that this tyrannical king did 242 years ago, to fatigue us into not caring and saying there's nothing we can do anyway, and then they have exactly what they want. He had endeavors back 242 years ago to prevent the population of these states for the purpose of obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migration to this country. Now, you may think, well, that's obviously President Trump, but I'm going to challenge you there. The president is trying to set up an immigration policy that does encourage the right people to come here. And I'm not just talking about people who have PhDs. I'm talking about people who want to come here and be free. But there has to be a system to do that. And where you think that the Democrat Party wants that leftists want that, they don't want that. They want to flood the country of as many people as possible for their own ideological reasons, not to get the right people here. This king, 242 years ago, as written in the Declaration of Independence, obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. I mean, look at the Ninth Circuit Court. Look at the way leftists work in this country. I mean, it goes on and on when we look at what was written in the Declaration of Independence. And they give the facts and state the facts as to why they were trying to break away or were breaking away from those tyrannical behaviors by this king in Great Britain. You see the exact same thing today. I can go through all of these headlines and I can show you proof. Better yet, you go through the headlines, and with this in mind, you will see exactly this. The Declaration of Independence is not long. Go back and read this, and you will see that the exact same game is being played on you today. So don't just go and look at it and pick out the one thing that you want. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain and unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Everybody loves that.